Guys, it's Way here, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to bring you guys my predictions for the top 10 highest rated players on FIFA 20. It's going to be a tough one and a controversial one, so let me know down below in the comments your top 10. Which players do you think are missing out and which players would you maybe not include? I'd be interested to read your comments, so let me know down below. Leave a like if you guys do enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new around here, and without further ado, let's go on into it. So we're going to get things kicked off with 10 honourable mentions. All these players are 89 rated, and to make it into my top 10 the players had to be 90 rated or higher. So these players are just one rating off and could very easily get in there. It's all down to the ratings you give them, of course. Some of these players have had really good seasons and received big upgrades like Mbappe, we've got Koulibaly, Royce and a couple of others, and some didn't have good seasons, were previously a lot higher rated and were downgraded because of that, people like Ramos and Modric for example. So we're going to have to see how EA approach the ratings this year. You could very easily see one or two of these players potentially in the top 10, so stay tuned, these ones are just missing out for now. Now moving into the top 10, we start off in the joint 10th position with Kevin De Bruyne, who I've given a 90 rating to, and there are actually going to be a lot of 90 rated players in this video. There are a total of 13 players in this top 10, which may not make sense at first, but it's just because a lot of them are 90 rated, so I've given them all kind of the joint 10th rank in this top 10, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But De Bruyne was previously a 91 rated player on FIFA 19, but having missed a lot of the season with injury, I decided to downgrade him. That's typically what happens to players who miss a lot of games with injury. When he did play, he was outstanding, and I'm sure next season he is going to be very good. He's been great in pre-season, and he is still one of, if not the best midfielder in the world. He's definitely up there, so I think he's going to get a 90 rating. He may even retain the 91, but you're definitely going to see him in the top 10 with a very, very nice card. Next up, we've got Marc-Andre ter Stegen, moving from an 89 to a 90 rating overall. I think he's up there amongst the 3 best keepers in world football right now, and you're going to see the others in this video as well. He had such a good season last year for Barcelona, who are very good defensively, so I think he definitely merits that upgrade, and he's going to have some very, very nice stats. We've then got his new Barcelona teammate Antoine Griezmann, who also had an 89 rated card on FIFA 19, but having had a great season and signed for Barcelona for over £100 million, I think an upgrade is on the cards. If he was still at Atletico, I think he'd probably keep the 89, but typically you see with big transfers that are really hyped, they get a little bit more of a boost on Ultimate Team. So I think for that reason he will get that 90 overall. It's going to be an amazing card, and you're going to see a lot of other Barcelona players in this top 10. They're going to have an amazing squad on FIFA 20 and in real life as well next year. For me, they're the favourites for the Champions League. They've got such a good team, it's crazy. Next up is David De Gea, receiving a downgrade from a 91 to a 90 overall. I think that's deserved because I think he's by far and away one of the best keepers in world football, but he made a lot of mistakes last season for both club and country, and United were absolutely awful, especially defensively. And yes, that isn't just his fault, of course. They have a very average defence with people like Smalling, Jones and Young in there, so you can't put all the blame on him. So I've not given him a bigger downgrade. I think a 90 rating is very much deserved because he still had some very good games and made some amazing saves. And with the signings United are making at the moment, if they get Maguire, they've already got Wan-Bissaka, I think next season they're going to be better defensively, and with that he will also do a lot better. And if you thought the 90 rated players were stopping, there's still plenty more to come. Next up is Luis Suarez. He's also received a downgrade from a 91 to a 90. He's getting older, and with that he's just losing that clinical edge that he used to have. He seems a little bit slower, and he just misses a lot of chances. If you watch Barcelona games, Messi puts so many chances on a plate for him, and he just messes them up. But despite that, he still scored a lot of goals last season, especially in the league, and they won the league very, very convincingly. So I think he'll still retain a very high rating. It could maybe be an 89, but I think a 90 is pretty much deserved there. He's not going to receive a huge downgrade. I think the pace will probably go down a little bit, but he's still going to be one of the highest rated players on FIFA 20, and you could link him up with Griezmann, a new signing, and a couple of other Barcelona players. We've still got, of course, a big one coming up. Next up is Sergio Aguero, yet another 90 rated card, and surprisingly enough, he's never actually received a 90 rated base card on Ultimate Team in the past, despite having been amongst the best strikers in world football for the past 4 or 5 years now. And I think this year is the year he deserves a 90 rating overall, because he won 4 trophies last season with Manchester City. He was their top scorer, and we saw Kane get a 90 rated card last year. I think if Kane had one, with the season Aguero had, having scored so many goals and won so many trophies, I think a 90 rating is on the cards and it would be very much deserved. I'm surprised he's never had it before in the past. He's always been up there. He's always been around that kind of 88 or 89 overall, and I think now is the time he deserves to push up to that 90. I know he wasn't the top scorer in the Premier League, but his goals per minute was a lot better than Salah, Mane and Aubameyang. He was only 1 or 2 goals behind them, but he'd played a lot less minutes, and had he not missed those through injury, he would have easily been the top scorer in the league. So I think it is deserved, and it would be an amazing card on Ultimate Team. The final 90 rated player in the top 10 is of course Virgil van Dijk, one of the cover stars of FIFA 20 and probably the best defender in world football right now. And he started off FIFA 18 as just an 85 rated card, then went up to an 88 and got so many special cards along the way. Having won the Champions League with Liverpool and been probably their best player, I think this rating is much deserved, and it could even be a 91 because of the fact that he's on the cover and EA typically seem to favour players they're associated with when it comes to overall ratings. But I think a 91 would maybe just be one step too far, because the highest rated centre back or the highest rated defender we've ever had on Ultimate Team was Sergio Ramos, and that was last year, and he had to win 3 back-to-back Champions Leagues to get that 91. So I think based off last season, a 90 rating would be very much deserved. He may have an 89, but I think a 90, given that he's on the cover and given how good he was last year, would be very, very good. And the stats this card would have would be absolutely insane, and he will probably set you back so many coins at the beginning of FIFA 20. At long last, moving away from the 90 rated players, we have got Jan Oblak coming in I believe joint 6th position, and according to many he is the best goalkeeper in world football, at least based on last season. He was so good for Atletico. He's actually kept more clean sheets than he's conceded goals in his career for them, which is crazy. He pulls off absolutely insane saves, and he's just such a good keeper, and he had a 90 rated card on FIFA 19, so I think an upgrade to a 91 is very much deserved. He's definitely in that top 3 goalkeepers in world football. For me, it's David De Gea, Oblak, and then obviously Ter Stegen, who you've also seen here, and then you've got the likes of Alisson, Ederson, Handanovic, Szczesny, a few other players pushing that top 3, but for me, they're the 3 best keepers in world football, and I think Oblak very much deserves a rating upgrade to a 91 overall. Another player who I think deserves an upgrade from a 90 to a 91 is Robert Lewandowski. Just like Aguero, he's been up there amongst the best strikers in world football for years and years now, and just like always, Bayern won the title. He was the top scorer in the Bundesliga. He was instrumental to their success, and he was probably their best player last season, so I think an upgrade is deserved. He scored so many goals. He's such a clinical striker, such a well-rounded player. He scores all types of goals. He's very good on the ball as well, and he became a lot more usable on FIFA 19 with an upgrade from 3-star skills to 4-star, and I used him quite a lot at the beginning of the game. I had his inform that I got from Foot Champions, and he was a lot of fun to use, and I think an upgrade to a 91 is deserved. Yes, he could keep the 90, and that would also be a very much deserved rating, but I think the boost to 91 would be nice, and it would be such a good card. The final 91 rated player in my top 10 is Neymar. Now this one's a tough one. He could easily retain the 92 rating that he had on FIFA 19, but he could also easily get downgraded to a 91, and that's what I've done here. It's similar to the case with Kevin De Bruyne. When he played, he was really good, but he just missed so many games through injury. I think it was about 5 months of the season in total, and he also had a few issues crop up unrelated to football. He had a rape case against him, which ended up being dropped because of a lack of evidence. He also punched a fan and got suspended because of that, and then he missed the Copa America, which Brazil of course went on to win. And when it comes to silverware, PSG just didn't have a particularly good season. They won the title, which is to be expected, but they flopped on the European front again, and they failed to win both domestic cups, which is a rarity because typically they wipe the floor with the rest of the competition in France, but they ended up losing both cup finals. So I don't think he's really deserves to keep the 92 rating based on that, especially given that he just didn't really play that much. But when he did play, he scored a lot of goals and was very good. So you could also see the argument for a 92 rating. And he is also associated with EA. He was one of the main kind of cover stars and players in FIFA 19. And going into FIFA 20, he's been in a lot of the designs, and he was on one of the early covers for FIFA 20 as well, that was first released when it came to the advertising for the new game. So as I've already mentioned with Van Dijk, you often see players associated with EA having a little bit of a higher rating. They seem to favour them. So you never know. It's going to be a 92 92 or a 91 for him, I think. Let me know what you'd give him down below. Now moving on to the big boys, in third place we've got Eden Hazard. I've given him an upgrade from a 91 to a 92, which I think is very much deserved. He was such an influential player for Chelsea last season. Without him, I think they'd have struggled massively. Apart from him and Kante, their side was very average and had very few outstanding players, but he carried them to the Europa League final, which he was man of the match in, and they went on to win, and also carried them to a Champions League place as well, before of course moving to Real Madrid for well over £100 million. Like I mentioned with Griezmann, the really big transfers typically seem to be favoured by EA when it comes to a little bit of a rating boost and a stat boost, and also the fact that he's one of the cover stars of FIFA 20 and has that relationship with EA. I think it's all pointing towards a 92 rating. I think that'll be very much deserved. There are probably going to be a lot of people saying he should maybe get a 91, but I think a 92 rating, given how influential he was for Chelsea and given the other factors such as him being on the cover and also the huge transfer, I think a 92 rating is much deserved, and I think we all want it because this card would be absolutely insane. Now coming in second place, of course, it was always going to be a huge name and it was always going to be between one of two players. It is Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think this year is going to be the first where he receives a downgrade. Going down to a 93 overall, it's still going to be an amazing card with some great stats, but I think based upon the very high standards he sets himself, he didn't have the best of seasons individually last year, especially when you compare him to Messi, who is of course going to be the highest rated player, who you will see in just a moment. I believe he was the 4th top scorer in this area. He only scored like 21 or 22 goals, which isn't amazing by his standards. Normally he scores well over 30. Piatek, Zapata and Quagliarella all outscored him, and they all play for worse teams, and Quagliarella's even older than him. He's 36. Typically older players generally just start to gradually get downgraded by EA, and also given the fact that they've now lost the licensing for Juventus, who are now called Piemonte Calcio, and Ronaldo is no longer the cover star, I think that's also going to lead to him getting that downgrade, because typically, as I've already said several times, they favour the cover stars. He was always lower rated than Messi on FIFA until he became the cover star, and then they gave him a higher rating than Messi, and then last year they gave him the same rating. So I think now that he's no longer the cover star, he's going to go down to a 93. Messi will be the highest rated player, which I think is deserved, and Ronaldo will be the second highest rated player on the game. I know he of course won the Nations League and the Serie A, and I believe he won one of the Italian Cups as well, but Juventus brought him in to succeed at a European level, which they've failed to do for a while now, and again they failed, losing to Ajax. They also lost in the Coppa Italia, or the other Italian Cup, I'm not entirely sure which, to Atalanta, and they always win the Serie A, so nothing particularly new there, and he only played 2 games in the Nations League, so I know people will point towards those successes, but if you look at the goals he scored, compare that to Messi, compare their stats last season, it really is no comparison. So for me, I think he deserves to be the second highest rated player on the game. So of course, you all knew it was coming. The highest rated player, I think, on FIFA 20 is going to be Lionel Messi, retaining the 94 rating that he had on FIFA 19. It is very, very much deserved. If you compare his stats to Ronaldo last season, there really is no comparison. If you compare stats to any player in world football last season, there's no comparison. He was the top scorer in Europe. He got the most assists as well. He got 51 goals in 49 games. He got like 20-something assists as well. The next top scorer was Mbappe, and he had like 10 less goals. Honestly, like, there's no comparison. I really cannot see any other outcome than Messi being the highest rated player on FIFA 20. And I don't think there's any argument for anyone being higher rated than him, or even the same rating. He was just so much better, and he probably won't win the Ballon d'Or. It will probably go to Van Dijk based on the Champions League. But for me, like Messi was just so good last season, as always, and he's got to be the highest rated player on the game. I think he will move from a centre forward to a right wing, which is unfortunate because he's more usable centrally, because he's a little bit slower than you typically want for a winger. You normally want to have someone over 90 pace, and he generally seems to have below 90. But yeah, I think he's probably going to be on the wing because that's where he played a lot last season, and will probably play even more the next season, just because there's more central players now. There's Griezmann, who can occupy that role behind Suarez, or can play instead of Suarez, depending how they line up. But they're going to have an unbelievable team next season. You've already seen a lot of their players in this top 10. For me, they're the favourites for the Champions League. I think Man City statistically are, but with the players Barcelona have, I really can't see them not winning unless something massively goes wrong. But yeah, for me, Messi's got to be the highest rated player on the game. Let me know down below. There's going to be some Ronaldo fanboys like piping up saying he doesn't, but honestly, like, look at the stats. Messi almost scored twice as many goals as him. It's unreal. He got way more assists. I think a stat I saw, the Ballon d'Or top 3 last year, where Messi came 5th, which is laughable, was Modric, Griezmann, and Ronaldo. And last season, Messi got more combined goals and more combined assists than all 3 of those players together. So Messi scored more than Griezmann, Ronaldo, and Modric, and then he got more assists than them as well. Like, honestly, no comparison. He's got to be number 1. He's got to be number 1. Let me know down below what you think of this top 10. I'm sure there's going to be loads of triggered people getting annoyed that their favourite player's not here, or that someone's higher rated than someone else. But of course, it's all down to just subjectivity. It's my opinion. You guys may have different opinions, and that's fine. So let me know down below. Don't hate me too much, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.